Pranayama, prana, life force. Yama is a kind of, I wouldn't like to say restraint, but maybe it's a kind of framework. So I'm going to take some time to explain part of the practice we're going to do today, because it's not complex, but I think it's worth explaining it. So looking at balance, and I do have some notes, so I'm going to refer to my notes because I want to get this clear before we step into the practices. And if you haven't practiced pranayama before with me, it's not just breath work. You know, it gets described as breath work. Well, we all know how to breathe as human beings, otherwise we wouldn't be alive. Our body breathes for us. We don't even have to send it a message from the brain. It's an automatic response as soon as we are born, and the umbilical cord is, you know, however it's disposed of. Some people tie it off, some people cut it off, and we take our first breath. We know how to breathe. But pranayama is a bit more sophisticated than that. You can call it controlling the breath, but again, I'm not keen on the word controlling. Maybe mastering the breath for your own purposes and to help you to achieve a higher state of consciousness. Prana is life force. You know, it's like almost the people, you know, maybe they think of the earth just, oh, well, we live here, we live on the earth, it's just a planet. And you think, well, it's there, we take it for granted. But when you actually start to think of what is the earth, it's a planet in a solar system, in a galaxy, in one of maybe billions of universes. It starts to fry your brain a bit. And that's the breath, really. The breath is the vehicle for life force. Because you can have a machine keeping you breathing, you can have a machine, a ventilator, like sadly, God bless them, so many people have had to have during the COVID pandemic, you know, and you can have, you know, these life support machines. But where is the prana? Where is the life force? It can't always be seen, particularly in people who may be in a coma. You know that things are functioning, but for our perception, we don't know what's going on inside them. You know, how can we know? How can it be measured? But as an onlooker, we can't witness the life force. So prana means life force. Pranayama. And yama is a kind of modality, a practice, maybe even a discipline if you want to look at it that way, which helps to bring more life force into the body and keep us as healthy and as well in terms of our physiology, our mental, our psychology, our emotional, our spirituality, in terms of all of those states. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about balance before we step into the practice. And looking at balance, so balance in our lives is the, you know, it's the middle line, yeah, between activity and rest. So sometimes we're active and sometimes we rest. And you know, you look then at the rest activity cycle or the sleep-wake cycle. And we all know that some people, even though they are awake and functioning in their day to a degree, are really asleep. They could be dull, they could be lethargic, they could be depressed, the energy is heavy, weighing down on them, there's a burden on them, and we can notice, you know, we sometimes feel it ourselves, we can notice it in other people. And then we all know that we are awake when we should be sleeping on occasion. You know, we go to bed, we can't switch off. Doesn't happen all the time to me, but I have had experience of that. You know, when you're going through illness or trauma or a particular period in your life that's disrupted, your sleep can be disrupted. Or some poor people, and I think this must be the most debilitating thing, as a woman who likes her sleep, who needs sleep. Some people just can't switch off to go to sleep. they have, what do they call it, insomnia, or at least they fall asleep and then they wake up. They're so hypervigilant, they're always on, their nervous system is always on alert. So they wake up even after 2, 3, 4 hours and then can't get back to sleep. And that is when the body is doing its healing, when the body is resting. This is why at the end of every yoga practice we take Shavasana, we lie down or we rest in whichever way is suitable for us, because all of the practices, the energy we've created, then it is allowed to sink into the body and heal, start to heal, help the body to heal, or seek out those places where there's tightness and tension or pain, all of those things. So, our sleep is so important, our rest is so important. And of course we do have a normal human cycle. I'm not going to go all the way into the circadian rhythm. That's there if you want to Google it. It's very interesting. It can help us establish a more natural human cycle for sleep and eating, one that is more healthy, so that we're not, on our laptops till 11 or 12 in our bedrooms, and, eating a bowl of cereal before bed, or doing those things that we sometimes do. We're human. After all, we're human. We're going to do those things. But it can be interesting to look at that stuff and find tools to live a more balanced life, and that's what yoga will help us do. So the circadian cycle, so that we, as soon as it starts to become dark, we want to feel sleepy and go to bed. And as soon as the sun rises, especially in the summer when we have more daylight, we maybe wake earlier, get up earlier. And it's a normal thing, but our lifestyle messes it up. People work nights, so as I say, they have highly stressful jobs, or maybe they got, I've had 5 babies, so I know that when my babies were tiny and I was feeding them, my circadian rhythm, went out the window. And there was no point stressing about it because the baby was in control of those times. And mothers, maybe listening to me will feel that too. But basically, when we're looking at the activity stage, we're looking at the activity stage, we're looking at 2 things. We're looking at catabolism and anabolism. So, the breakdown and the break up. The kind of build up. And this should be balanced. If we have good metabolic functioning, this really should be balanced. And oftentimes it's not in our modern societies. I'm not saying that's a standard, but oftentimes it's not. We're either one or the other. We're either hyper and running around in a state of, like a whirling dervish, doing a million things at once, or we are maybe too laid back, can't get into action, don't really feel, we procrastinate, we put things off. And I've been guilty of both of those states, at any one time in my life. And the catabolism, when there's a balance, we are, recycling. We recycle when we go to sleep. Our cells become renewed. The body can concentrate not on digesting food unless we eat late, or instead of thinking of the next strategy for my new business, or worrying about my child, or thinking, will my roses grow in the garden, all of those things. We take our rest so that all of those cells, we're having a kind of download, like our computers, we plug them in overnight. And you know what it's like if your software is old on your computer, how slow is it? If it doesn't get updated, how slow can it be? Really, really slow. So it's our kind of computer charge to sleep and rest. So we are desperately in need of it, not just keeping on going all the time. Too much of either is no good. So recycling, as we do in our environment, recycling is one of the core principles of living a healthy life. And in yoga, we call the balance the Kaya Kalpa, okay? The fact that we are having a software update, we're constantly updating, we're constantly evolving, we're constantly renewing, we're constantly growing, we're constantly, if you like, deteriorating. Cells die. Skin becomes less plump, collagen fades. Those things are facts of our lives at the moment, although science looks as though it's going to keep us along way beyond, maybe what we're ready to be here. Who knows? Who knows what the next 10, 15, 20 years will bring. So, what has the breath got to do with this? Well, we're looking at right brain and left brain. So, the right nostril is connected to the activity of the left brain. And the left nostril is connected to the activity of the right brain. It's the same as like your right hand, left brain. Left hand, right brain. This is why in yoga we're trying to make a balanced practice. If you're right-handed, and you can do anything with your right hand, you try writing with your left hand or doing something with your left hand. It's not going to work as good because your left hand is connected to your right brain, and maybe that, it's lost the neural pathway. It has lost the signal. Your brain is not working with the left hand as well. So in yoga we're trying to use both. Obviously there's going to be a dominant side. It's normal in everybody. But we're trying to balance up the energies in yoga, whether it's through the asana practice, the meditation, the energetic practices, or the work with the pranayama. Yes, you'll get stronger lungs. Yes, you will get breath capacity that is expansive. Yes, you may create nitric oxide in the nostrils to avoid viruses and things like this. These things are proven. There are research papers to, uphold the teachings, which have been going on some people say 5,000 years, depends where you start. Because once you make a starting point in yoga, somebody else will come up and say, no, but you remember so and so, there's, it goes beyond. So left nostril, right brain, right nostril, left brain. So the right nostril looking at the left brain is the activity cycle. This is your sympathetic cycle, your cycle of action, your cycle of movement, okay? It's part of your autonomic nervous system. You have two roots there. You either have sympathetic, which is activity, or you have parasympathetic, which is your rest and digest. So sympathetic, you can think of fight or flight, your survival, it's your survival. And that comes from that half of the autonomic nervous system. And then you have the parasympathetic. This seems to be the area that's most out of whack in our society. The rest and digest. Even when we eat in this society, quite often we are on the go. I know that as a mother working and running a business, I often stood at the kitchen work surface eating. I didn't sit to eat because the children were eating, and I knew then I'd have to sort homework, or I'd have to write an article, or this was before my days of yoga, or I'd have to do this, that, you know what it's like. I'm not saying women are the only ones who have these duties, but that was my personal experience. I didn't take time to eat, so I often got digestion problems. I didn't sit and take time to eat. So those are the two sides of the brain, and those are the two pathways of the nervous system. And your autonomic nervous system, it's the thing that keeps you alive. And as I say, it has two wings to it. It has two wings. So if you are a person who suffers mostly as a personality, or could just be an episode in your life that's at the moment, suffer from depression, lethargy, laziness, procrastination, prevarication, dullness, a heaviness, and you feel you need a kickstart. How many people start their day with caffeine? Or how many people during the day will have, I need an energy boost, I need something to pick me up, I need something to perk me up, and they reach for, chocolate or cakes or sugary things, which only give you a very temporary insulin spike, and then you crash and you feel like you want to go to sleep at 3 o'clock. So for these people, you know, we can look at right nostril breathing when you need an energy boost. And then there are other people, and there are many of these around, who they have, you know, the parasympathetic link might be, and the limb might be overdeveloped with them. So it's linked to the vagal connection. So they might be a little bit, you know, they kind of, you know, you can get two people, either hyperactive or the ones who don't want to move enough. So if you need movement and you need energy and you need a kickstart, it's right nostril. If you are already flying around like a whirlwind, you need left nostril. Okay? Because it's all right to say don't push, don't keep going, it's okay, let's stop for a moment. You know, otherwise we become anxious, we become overwhelmed, we become stressed. And when we get into panic, we think we're out of control. We've allowed the system, the emotions, the reaction to become out of control, and we panic, and then we may feel we need to get, you know, drugs to help us out, and sometimes we do need them. I'm not a doctor. People can make their own decisions with their doctors about what they need. But there are practices that can help you maybe not get to that stage. So sympathetic overdrive, catabolic overdrive, burning ourselves out. Catabolic overdrive, it's interesting, isn't it? We call it burnout in these days. Then we need left nostril. If you are too laid back, yeah, too slow, too mañana, maybe sometimes you need the right nostril. Yeah. So right nostril is a I'm going to read it because it's quite hard to say. Sympathomimetic. Sympathomimetic. So mind. And parasympathomimetic. So these behaviors, so right is the sympathomimetic, left is the parasympathomimetic. Okay, so they mimic the behaviors of those sides of the nervous system. And what we are looking for in yoga is central, equality, balance, not too much one way or the other, to keep the system in tune with what is equal and what is balanced and what is good for us. And we will veer to one end or the other of the spectrum on occasion, but we can find our way back. So that is the explanation. So we're going to do 9 rounds of right nostril breathing. That means we breathe in and out only of the right nostril. Then we are going to do 9 rounds of left nostril breathing. And then should have time to do 9 rounds of 6-3 breathing up through the chakra pranayama, and that is called the Shushma, when both nostrils are equal. Now you may notice, if you haven't tried it, try it tomorrow morning, that when you get up in the morning, one nostril is more dominant than the other, depending on the way you lie down. Because this shifts probably about every 15 minutes or so, that one nostril is more dominant than the other. You may not notice it when you're breathing, but it's a fact. So try it tomorrow morning. If you lie on your right side to breathe and you wake up on your to sleep, and you wake up on your right side, it's likely that the left nostril will be dominant. If you lie on your left side, it's likely when you wake up and you're on your left side that the right nostril will be predominant. Okay? So these are really interesting things to notice. I had no idea about this before I started to study very, holistic yoga practices through the Gitananda tradition, which show you everything. They don't leave any rock unturned. They don't just give you the cherry. They give you the whole bun, and then you can decide how far you want to go. So we're just going to wake up the system so that we can do our breathing in a nice, comfortable way. So I am going to just start tapping the crown of my head, just tapping it back of my skull, waking up the system. because I haven't practiced Hatha Yoga this morning yet. I'm going to practice this afternoon because I've got a busy morning. So I haven't sort of done any exercise or anything, and just gently patting the chest and just using the fist in a very loose way, just tapping across the top of the shoulders, all the way down the arm, and just do it loosely, yeah? Don't have to do it too harshly, all the way up and down, on the inside. If you notice any bruising on my wrist, I have a blood disorder that I have to have blood taken away, so don't think I'm doing any of these silly things that people do to get energy or to calm down. And then the other side, coming down, just gently waking up, and underneath as well, maybe, you know, just maybe in the armpits, and again, loosening everything up. We'll just do a couple of side bends, just a little bit to make sure our lungs have as much help as possible. So just opening up right arm and coming across and just leaning gently over to the left, and you can come as low as you like. We're not, as I say, this is not a hatha practice, but it can be quite nice to just open up. Yeah. A few more times, just opening up the ribs, getting in touch with where our lungs are. Good. Now I'm going to kneel up, so I'm going to just, because I was kneeling for a while anyway, because I was meditating earlier on as well, I'm going to just shake out my legs, just bounce them out, get the blood going. I'm going to rub along my legs, make sure everything is flowing. What I like to do is put my thumbs together and press them down the middle meridian while my outer fingers are rubbing the outside and inside edges of my legs. Be careful you don't rub your joints too much over the knee. Be gentle with everything. We want to age well, you know, as human beings. We don't want to live forever. Well, I certainly don't. I will know when it's time I want to let go. But we need to age well and, you know, have resilience in our lives and not be dependent on things that, if we take a little care and put some time in, can be avoided, you know. I watch my mum now, you know, she's 18, she's a little diamond, and she struggles with her lungs dreadfully. You know, yeah, she was a smoker in the early years, but, you know, has had to rely on steroids and drugs for a long time now, you know, and it takes its toll, I think, on the system. Sometimes we have to have these things, but it can be nice if we can help ourselves to avoid. So let's come up onto the knees. For pranayama, Vajrasana is just the most delicious posture, but I know some people suffer with knee flexion, so you can sit on a chair if you like to. I tend to like to put something under my feet, and I put a block or a cushion under my bottom because we're staying for a little while, so I don't particularly want to make things more difficult than they need to be, because the breath is where we're going. There, so as I sit up on my knees, or you can sit up on a chair, my open front, very hard to slump the back, and we rest in between each round, each set, okay? So we're going to do 3 sets, okay? We're starting with the right nostril. This means that the right nostril stays open. We keep the left closed. So it's in and out through the left nostril, okay? Through the right nostril. So I'll talk you through it. You don't have to remember anything, but I like to try and give a little bit of information and explanation, because, you know, it's nice to know why you're practicing something, because if you understand it and enjoy it, there's a likelihood you will practice on your own, which is, for me, is the ultimate goal. Okay, so we're going to do the Vishnu Mudra. Vishnu Mudra. So I'm bringing my ring finger and my little finger together to close my left nostril, and then the middle finger is free to come towards the brow, the third eye. Yeah, so we have a little focal point there. The thumb is away, what is this? Forefinger is just left curling. So you might have to hold like this, you know, if you feel it's too tiring. You will grow in strength, you know, lifting the arm. So this is the mudra. So I just want you to release that now, okay? Just release it, so I don't have to explain where it is again. We're just going to do 3 breaths, 3 full breaths of lifting our arms above the head first of all, okay? So breathing in, open it up, and breathing out, bring it down the center line. Breathing in, open up. Just open as wide and come up as high as you can. And bring it back down through the center line. And breathing in, open up. Look up, stretch. Press the energy together and bring it down. We're doing 9 rounds of right nostril breathing. And it will be roughly a count in of 6 and a count out of 6. If that's too much and you get stuck or you have to stop halfway, perfect, doesn't matter. Okay, so Vishnu Mudra, please. Left nostril closed, middle finger to the Bindu, to the third eye, to the Angya chakra, and then you can just let the other fingers rest. Please breathe out together. Don't panic, don't worry about it, do your best. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, last round, in, out. Please drop your right hand. If there's some, muscle pain, tension, just, rotate your wrist, rotate your arm. Please come forward into either child pose or heart pose, balasana. Just bringing your bottom up, your chest, your head down. Just rest there, or you can come to the side. Resting for a few breaths. I'm just on my left side. I know you can't see me, but I'm just resting for a moment. When you are ready, come back up. Please take a sip of water. We do expire a lot of water practicing pranayama. Just close your eyes and notice. Sometimes the bodily sensations dominate because we're not used to it. We're not used to holding our arm. You might not be used to sitting up like this, kneeling with a straight back. If that's a problem for you, you really must practice sitting in a chair with a straight back and knees above ankles and hips just behind knees. It's perfectly fine to practice pranayama sitting on a chair. And open your eyes. You might even note, I notice my voice has changed. We're going to do 9 rounds of the left nostril. Now I find it very hard to hold with my left hand. Okay, I should practice more, I know, but for the purpose of teaching, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so left nostril breathing, you're closing the right off with the thumb. Yeah, you can bring your middle finger up and the other ones could just curl down, so it's a bit like that. Yeah, so let's just breathe out together. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. Place the mind on the bindu if it helps. Breathe in. Out. In. Out. In. Big breath in. Out. In. Out. Last round. In. And out. Let the arm go. Maybe you have to just loosen the arm out a little. And come forward and right. I'm going to rest on my right side this time to keep my left dominant for a moment. So lie on the right side. When you are ready, breathe in and push yourself up. Just sit there quietly, take a sip of water. Just sit there quietly, noticing. Maybe you can close your eyes and just sit and notice. The main thing I notice is the activity in my brain. Yes, my breath is clearer. Yes, my center of gravity has dropped. Good time to sing now. When I close my eyes and go inside, I notice activity in my nervous system. So, we're going to now do 9 rounds of the Shushuma equal. That's when both nostrils are equal. They may not stay equal, it's fine. But this is the purpose of the practice, where we can breathe in. We're going to do the chakra pranayama. So when we breathe in, we're going to think of the prana coming from the root, the muladhara, coming all the way up to the Agnya chakra, okay, the third eye. You can think of it as the brow bone here, the brow here. Think of it as that if it helps. So we're going to breathe in here, all the way up the channel. You can think of it as the spine or the front body. I don't think it's important. Up to you. And it's going to stay here for a count of 3. We won't do 6, it might be too much. So we're breathing in 6 up to here, hold for 3, breathing out, we're thinking of the energy coming down. So we breathe in, the energy rises up to a higher consciousness, and as we breathe out, we let it come down. So we breathe in 6, we hold 3. We breathe out 6, we hold out 3. It's not long. It's not long. And then on the 10th, we're going to breathe in, and I will count it. We're doing 9 rounds as we just done. And then on the 10th, we breathe in from the root all the way up to our Saraswara, our crown chakra. And we're breathing in all the way up to here on the 10th round. And then on the out breath, we send that energy about 3 to 6 inches beyond the crown. So we are sending the energy, we're connecting with the universal cosmos, with the universal energy. And we're just going to stay in that realm for a few moments. Let's start together. No need for any hands. If you want to put your hand in a mudra, a nice mudra is the yogic mudra, where you place the left hand into the right and you link the fingers, and the top thumb is always on, the right thumb is always on top. You just rest that down. Okay, so close your eyes, sit comfortably, take a drink first of all if you need to. Nice straight spine, nice soft open front. Try not to grip in the body. When we learn, we grip. So we think, got to breathe in. No, just let it come in naturally as you can. No need to extend any further than is really comfortable. So let's breathe out together. Breathe in from the root to the third eye. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In from root. Out and down to root. Full breaths. Breathe in. Breathe out. In. Out. Breathe in from root to third eye. Breathe out from the brow to the root. Breathe in from the root. Breathe out to the root. Breathe in from the root. Breathe out to the root. Breathe in. Breathe out. Ninth round in. Ninth round out. Breathe into the crown chakra. Breathe out, send it to the sky. Breathe into the crown chakra. Breathe out and send it skywards, all through the universe. Out through your crown. Let it go out. Notice how it feels. Let it go out. Joining with everybody else. I'm just going to stay with that feeling coming in and out. You can let the breathing go. Just breathe normally. Noticing how it feels to be in that realm. Sending it at least 3 inches, 6 inches above your crown. Sending the energy there. Just dwell in that space, that pure consciousness, that pure awareness, the moment you are in. You may release your legs and come forward to rest. Maybe you need to kick out your feet or move your legs. Don't hold any tension. Don't hold any blockages. Pure bliss. Gitananda. Gitananda. And sit up. Take a sip of water. Before we come to lie and rest, just want to chant Shivoham with you. You can join in or you can just listen. We are in a state of bliss when we connect in this way, and if it's challenging initially, stick with it. If you found this seated position is not good, change it for next time. Don't let it put you off the pranayama practice. It is by far, in my humble opinion, one of the most powerful yogic practices. You can change your own equilibrium by either choosing right nostril or left nostril to suit your needs on whatever day. Or you can just breathe in the balanced way. So close your eyes, sit up. Shivoham, 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 Sachidanandaham, 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 Shivoham, 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 Sachidanandaham, Sachidanandaham, come and lie on your back in Shavasana for about 5-10 minutes. And allow the practice to totally sink into your system. Lie down with straight legs, or maybe you want to bend your knees, or maybe you need to bring your knees in. Just rock a little, let the blood come back to the pelvic area. If you've been kneeling, maybe ease your knees out and settle in for your Shavasana. Closing your eyes, let the feet roll away. Let the arms roll away, let the shoulders be softly touching the floor. Let go of any practice now, just relax. Just continue to let go for a few more minutes. Just enjoying your state of relaxation after your practice. Just a few more moments. When you are ready, you feel you want to come and sit up, do so, but take your time. There's no rush. We have plenty of time. Maybe you need to roll over onto your right side or left side, whichever feels, better for you after the practice. Just allowing vibration to fade. Come and take your seat. Maybe you just have your eyes closed, maybe not, it's fine, whichever suits you. Sit with a nice straight back, And just notice what you feel. It's all about becoming more aware of what you notice, what you witness. You don't have to attach to it, you don't have to ever create anything or look for colors or think you're not doing right if you don't see anything or you don't feel anything. Every single individual's experience of yoga is different because we are all unique. You can't be persuaded of a practice, you have to discover and experience it and decide if it's for you. But what I would say, you have to try it. You have to give it a go. You can't change everything just in one attempt. You have to, and that's why it's called practice. Draw your hands together, placing the palms together, fingers together, pressing them so you make that nice connection. Maybe the thumbs come towards the sternum. We're going to finish with 3 arms. So breathing in. Breathe in. Last round in. Bow your head to your fingers and just be grateful we're here practicing and that you're learning new things hopefully and that you can take them into your life if it serves you.